Okay, we're gonna talk about Scotland. Yes, we're in Scotland. We're gonna talk about the William Wallaces and whatnot. Yeah, from Glasgow, I'm gonna stab you. Dunnerkane. I'm gonna talk as much Scottish accents as possible. So today we are going to be talking about Scotland. Big sigh. Now, I live in Scotland, and I'm not gonna lie, this is one hell of a boring country. This country is just simple stability that everything is in the most basic form, not much cultural enrichment, diversity, or even jobs. The population is only 6 million people. That's right, 6 million people. There are more people in London, yes, a city, than the whole other landmass of the United Kingdom. That's a bit like more people being in New York than there being in the rest of the mainland United States. So Scotland needs industrialisation. We're a very agricultural country, and that is a dead economy. We still hold on to the good old days of the fishing boats and all that sort of shiz. But the problem with Scotland is when they do get one thing, they just heavily rely on one thing, like North Sea oil. That's all Aberdeen ever was. Alex Salmond even said that's going to be the main thing to drive the economy when the referendum happened. Is he crazy? Oil runs out and renewables don't work. Our shipping building was destroyed in World War II, and climate change will eventually destroy the already dead farming. The place I lived in was a fishing buzz, and I've warned them we can't rely on one thing. They never listen. And look at the place, same with all of Scotland. When the fishing ran out, farming came next, then oil, and shipbuilding. Just look at Dubai, for example. When their oil ran out, instead of panicking on what to do next, they decided to turn themselves into a tourist hotspot. And now Dubai hosts the tallest man-made structure on Earth. So don't rely your economy on just one thing. So what's the plan, Scotland? I keep telling them, what's the next? Offshore is going a bust. But they're so delusional that North Sea oil will be their independent breakthrough. They even had no idea what currency they were going to use in the referendum. The pound, the sterling, they had no idea about the future of this country. That's why it can't be independent. That's the most important thing, and you couldn't even decide what currency you were going to use, for Christ's sake. Dumbasses, man. Then they say, if the UK splits in Brexit, they will join the EU. Well, the EU isn't working for a reason. Look at Greece and Portugal. The euro declining and the migrant crisis, and the Scots are still so stupid. They want to break through a union only to join to a bigger union. They have no idea, Now the Scots and geography is the reason for its small towns and sparse population. However, look at Rio de Janeiro and San Francisco, all built up in hills, and once again the population of those cities is bigger than Scotland, so the hills are no excuse. Then they say, well, people don't come here because of the weather. Well, look at Paris, similar temperature to the rest of the UK. New York is also cold. Scotland wants independence from the UK, however, this will not liberate Scotland, this will only move Hadrian's Wall upwards, as the rest of Scotland don't give a shit about the north, where I'm from. This is a problem. 80% live in the central belt. You may think Scotland is industrialised and populated, but above Aberdeen, there's just huge swaths of just empty fields. That's it. The north is just neglected and always will be, whether we're independent or not. There is enough space in Scotland. It's 60% rural. We are like Russia during the Tsars. Huge land that's just agricultural and doesn't make much money. Or the Great Plains in the United States. These farmers are just making Scotland or stopping Scottish innovation of industrialisation. Scotland isn't very diverse. They leech on the same economy. They're all like-minded. They're just average simpletons who just want basic family lives, unlike places like the United States. Scotland, it's extremely boring. Every city is just the same pub, church, school. Well, the cities in the United States are so vastly different and diverse and have their own unique styles to them. New York, the big city, Washington, the political hub, Los Angeles, the creativity, Las Vegas, the gambling, Florida, amusement parks. However, in Scotland, Dunfermline ain't any more different to Stirling, and Stirling ain't any more different to Fraserburgh. There are no international cities in Scotland like the rest of the world. For example, Athens, Paris, Barca, you name it. The population of Scotland is very monotheistic. There are not many different cultures here. It's very white as Alaska. This is probably the reason why everyone is just so like-minded and there is not that much diversity within the cities. Also, the weather is the same all over. In places like America, I'm sorry I keep using that as an example, but it's probably what Scots know best. The weather there is so diverse, it causes cultural enrichment within the cities. That's the reason Americans live in a bubble. You can relax on a beach in Florida, go shopping in New York, see some sights in Washington, go to the Grand Canyon in Utah. America is filled with deserts, canyons, swamps, rivers and mountains. Well, Scotland is just fields. It's the same weather all over. In order to get sunshine, we literally have to fly down all the way down to the Mediterranean. It's because of the weather that places like Florida has a surfing culture, Dallas has ranging and horse riding, and Denver has a hiking culture. The weather causes diversity and cultural enrichment. America contains blue culture, jazz, country, blue culture, hip-hop, bikers, while in Scotland it's just the basic suburban families of beer-belly dads, soccer mums, Tumblr feminist daughters, and the get-wrecked lads as sons. People say, oh, it's the size, there can't be much diversity if we're too small. Well, look at Italy, for example. You have the Vatican, which is historical, Milan, the fashion, Monaco, car racing, and Rome, the capital. And Italy is just a small bootleg shape of a country. They say it's our size that we can't be a superpower. Well, look at Japan, a small country, still a threat to China, which is a huge landmass. China is a huge landmass, Japan is an island. Japan also hosts Sony, which is an international market that produces game consoles, TVs, movies. A small country producing not much industry. They're also leading entertainment with anime shows. South Korea, Samsung, small country. If the TVs went bust, Japan just focused more on the movies. See how the small country produces so much goods? And Japan ain't like China, where they miss international production through slave labour. Japan is a very moderate country. If anything, it makes Scotland look backwards. Also, look at Israel. That little strip of land has managed to turn the entire Islamic world into a junkyard and has infiltrated it with either stable puppet regimes or guerrilla fighters against regimes they don't like. So, size is not an issue. I devise Scotland to be more of a network instead of country. We have the basic stability. Let's move ahead now and start making a footprint on the world. We don't have to do this by flexing our muscles like the USA, but like Japan. Have interest in companies all over the globe. We could still be democratic socialists, but we need our money from capitalistic states in order for that wealth to be shared. We need to fill these empty fields with cities. Now, animal rights groups may complain, what exactly do we have to save? Lions, tigers, pandas, bears? I'm sorry, all we have here is seagulls that just dump everywhere. Scotland is 60% rural, we can afford more industrialisation. It's not enough to just be simple or to just get ahead. We need themes, diversity, enrichment of different ideas. We need entertainment, not boredom. All Scottish people do is drink at the dusty pubs. That's the best it gets. And if the pubs are going to be our holy shrines, at least sparkle them up a bit. They're from the Victorian times. There's not much for kids to do. The hooliganism is high here. There's not enough of a... Like I said, it's all just all old grannies here, so... Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, they are drunken and backwards or loud and dumb. But they're boring as hell while sober, so... Oh, Scotch whiskey, why drink that shit when you can have Jack from Tennessee's and Captain Morgan's from the Caribbean? We embrace our alcohol industry, yet I always hear about Russian vodka, and our distillery industry is dead for our nation that loves alcohol. They can't handle it all. They always start passing. Just go to Glasgow on a Friday night. They love alcohol so much, but they just one sip of it and they can't even handle it. So yeah, yeah. We embrace our agriculture, yet have such negative views towards marijuana. But weed was. But I bet you weed was legal here. The amount of English and people from European countries would come here just like Amsterdam. Scotland say weed is not part of our culture like alcohol. Well, it could be starting from now. And it's embarrassing when you see New Year celebrations all across the world, light shows and amazing stuff, yet in Scotland or just all these drunk and shouting and hissing terrible songs. Cringy. Every event in Scotland is just bagpipes in a muddy field and a few stalls and that's it. We embrace how rural we are, and when in reality we're just fields and more fields. No deserts, canyons, swamps or jungles. Our wildlife is boring. Scotland is a good place to retire or raise small kids because it's simple. But when you become a young male, there's no glamour or glitz here like Dubai. Also, Scotland's not really had much of an ancient history either. Like the Romans and the Greeks, fair enough, Middle Ages, but it only goes up to a point where it goes into British history overall. So yeah, Scotland is just a muddy farm ghetto filled with simpletons and simple shit. These small towns and community leaders don't want growth because they know growth will lower them in the social ladder. They're keeping this place backwards. Scotland is a joke to the rest of the world. In fact, most people have not even heard of it, or always refer to the UK as England. Apart from penicillin and the phone, which by the way is the past, we have made no major impacts on our world history apart from joining the Union. But I'm glad this place has barely any heritage because it means we don't have any crazy rambling racists. Well, we do, so. And another thing, our elections are boring as hell. We're becoming a communist state with SNP dominance. 80% of people vote SNP. And elections are supposed to unite people, make them feel empowered, make them feel like they're a part of something bigger than themselves. Look at the US elections and Brexit. But Scotland, all we do is sit on our asses and say, my vote won't make a difference. But yeah, with me being an immigrant and having quite negative views of Scotland, whenever I debate these people, I get, well, if you don't like it, then go back. That's the problem. They can't take criticism. I only criticise because I care, and if we don't criticise, how will we see? If anything, you could call me a nationalist, because I want good things to happen here. So yeah, we're becoming small, boring, inconvenient, like Poland, Iceland, Ireland, those sort of countries, you know. But yeah, we need to industrialise. We need to cut ties with the EU and the US. We need to be in an international market. We may be small, but Greece is small and had more resonance in that one small area than the rest of the world. So yeah. But Scotland!